youth groups, district youth council, young people with disabilities in today's National Advocacy Consultative Conference with focus on the review of our national youth policy that is currently in the review process. Indeed, as young people, we would have loved to celebrate this day through with a launch of the policy. However, we are aware of the many challenges faced globally, COVID-19 pandemic, that to some extent delays the review process. Sierra Leone is currently on the review process of our youth policy. For a year now, by a young consultant, the SIBA Policy Group, commissioned by the Ministry of Youth Affairs to review the outdated national youth policy.
Wey e be dey tok, di chairman for di National Council for Civic Education, Kalilu Totange, say for make young pipo dem take di review of di national youth policy serious, dem need for dey part of di engagement process wey go make dem build dem knowledge but a governance process for better dem life.
It's important that in your review process, you put in a mechanism where you are going to be consistently engaging them to build knowledge about the governance process in their country and how to do A, B, C, D to better their lives. And it will help them to build skills, to nurture those skills on which you rely for them to take action. Until people realize that communities are the building block of a nation and that those communities depend on individuals and families, and that together, only together, can they foster the development that they need, and people are not going to be taking it very seriously.
Kalilu Totange continue say young people dem plenty na the country and say with dem participation pan the process that go help them for build skills wey go make their life improve and push development go before na salon. Musa Khalil Koroma na the director for Global Youth Network. He say this year 2020 and 2021 e go like for see young people engage and take part in the thing them where they develop the country.
Many times we've made a lot of mistakes. We've used other channels as reverse mechanism, and it ends up as we becoming also victims. So what I'm saying is for us to engage today in a very constructive way, by which we can be able to suggest issues that are bothering us, that are laboring us. Unfortunately, I am no longer a youth. I have graduated from the youth age. I'm no longer 35. The whole of 2020 to 2021, we want to see young people engaging themselves on taking actions that can positively influence their development. If you go back to the youth policy of 2014, the revised, one of the key responsibilities of you, the young people, is for you to be custodian of your own development.
Musa Khalil Koromabe end up call on young people them for make the right decision on the thing them where they want for see inside the review process where they carry on now na the country. After this conference, some young people that will be part of this process been put together the thing the way they want for see inside the review process and then be given to Center for Coordination of Youth Activity we go put them inside position paper for present to the Ministry of Youth Affairs. For Radio Democracy, me na Theodore Arena the report.
The program Good Morning Salon, they continue. We come again to the director na the Financial Intelligence Unit, where na David Bobo, he don't talk about how they don't run the unit and self plans and we get as the under your own leadership as way for continue for FET and money laundering and terrorist financing. Now let's look at from the public to the unit. Waiting on the use for let people themselves somebody they listen a get information or a know about money laundering or anything related to una work where they go on, how the people they reach out to the unit?
Well, before now we've been get a hotline. We try for revive that hotline there. We try for reach out to the mobile network service providers for let them revive that hotline there. But even if the hotline or the office people in Sabiam within a 5H by our drive, in the event they get information with the money laundering and the one for sharing with we, they can come our office or they can share their information there with two partners them. You know, as I've been saying, money laundering fight not to win no more. Anti-corruption are part of the process. The police are not part of the process. So whatever useful information they share, if side we not present, at least they will partners and people make the information and they reach we.
All right, the program they continue. We just quickly look at message and more people on send. And now the Facebook page, we begin for look at the messages them. The very first one I go look at Abdullah Kenny Kamara says, sir, if I have a huge amount of money in my account, but I hardly withdraw above 20 million leons, if a need arise for me to withdraw 50 million leons, do you call that a money laundering?
This other message, yeah, they say thanks to the UN coordinator for his marvelous job well done in Mama Salon. And that message will come out from Amara Alpha.
Albert Thomas say, in our country, we are not really serious when it comes to fighting corruption, and in that case, we will continue to be on the bottom of development.
This other message is, Mr. Bobo, money laundering are mostly done among elite people. How do the law make sure that no one is left out?
So that person they ask, say, if I am a poor petty trader, how may I be involved in money laundering, or do I just have to go to the bank to be involved in money laundering?
More message inside the program. This other one is, Mr. Bobo, there are people who are high in position in society, and you know that they involve in money laundering, but the law is exempted when it comes to them. Why?
All right, so they look at more messages. This other one they ask, say, if I'm involved in money laundering but then bribe the bankers, how will the intelligence unit know that there is money laundering involved there?
This other message they say banks want interest and want the financial capital to grow. You think the bank will all the time report to you? You guys should have system to detect directly from the bank from people who are involved in money laundering.
Abraham Stewart Bluesum na Facebook say FIU they are all in corporate ventures. They will never tell us what is happening behind closed doors.
This other message here inside the program is Mr. Bobo, from what you have been saying, it's clear that we don't have the technology, device, and system to address money laundering. People who are in money laundering are always ahead of time of those who are tracing them.
This other one from Johannes Rogers na Facebook. It says, how does the FIU monitor the apparent massive movement of cash in local currency and US dollars that are ongoing outside the banking and other financial institutions?
This message here is Mr. Bobo. According to that advert he published to the members of the public, the advert states applicants should have 3 years working experience, must study accounting. If we want to make a good example, it should start from where we are. You said you're recruiting staff. How are you going to make sure that these staff have integrities?
Conti Jana Facebook say most money laundering, especially in Africa, save their money inside their homes.
The last one we will take for now, Mr. Bobo, it's clear that we are far behind of addressing or combating money laundering. More needs to be done.
All right. Well, from the message and there, we come over to David Bobo, way now the director na FIU for response to the concern and my people are raised so far. Sir Bobo.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mabel. I think somebody they ask if in get money in a bank and they withdraw often and that they decide for withdraw 50 million, whether they call that the money laundering. I don't make it clear, say, not to the amount we they withdraw go make the bank feel say that a suspicious activity than the bank will don't build a profile about you. If you not done the put money or the kind of business we they do, they not they expect you for let you they bring in a particular amount of money, you bring them, then the bank can want for file a suspicious report. Then if you withdraw a patterns them, you're not comfortable with the banks, you not sit comfortable with the bank based on the knowledge you then get about you and your business, then they can also report. But we not get any threshold set for say anybody will withdraw this amount and a money laundering. No, not so dandy. So it's about the knowledge of you and about the profile with the bank or the financial institution they establish about you. And if you try for behave outside of that profile, then they will file a suspicious report. Some people they say money laundering is done by the elite. So how do well, if that is your own definition of the one the way they do money laundry, well, so be it. But we get system in place for know wetin dey happen now the financial institution. And when anything and they happen, we call red flags about money laundering, we expect the banks then for report to we. However, if the banks then fail for report that and we go in and I tell people then say we also get mandate for go in and inspect them books in terms of waiting and they do. So if the team go in and find out say certain transactions and the way they out for don't report to we, they not report them, we can actually penalize the banks then. In fact, quite recently, before the predecessor left, we've been finding a number of institutions. We come up to close to 900 million. So all them things then they in place. Then somebody they talk say if petty trader not they use a banking system, how we go know? When one of the challenges that I don't talk about, see we economy a lot of informality, and then the cash-based nature of the economy, the structure of the economy, because if something not get audit trail, if paper trail not there about something, it go very difficult for let you piece together fact if something happen for let you look at. It says somebody say the law exempt certain people, highly placed people, and obviously the law exempt anybody. Uh, the law is the law. The law not to respect our person. So, in the same way, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, they don't exempt anybody, as long as you conduct within the financial institution or elsewhere uh, require we follow investigate you, will investigate you and bring them facts and to the attention of law enforcement agencies. So the law no make anybody a secret cow.
So in terms of penalties, una because you say normally when una get the intelligence, una get people when una fair not say they do this, una can refer them to the body then we responsible. But at times people they will can frown out some of the penalties and we can at the end of the day. Una can satisfy with penalties and with the institutions and they can take at the end of the day una can don't fair not certain case and forward to them. The outcome.
Well, some penalty then we talk about administrative penalty, which have get powers for enforce the administrative penalties and they. But when it comes to prosecution, you know, say that they not we go down share the intelligence, the law enforcement then go do the investigation and prosecute. I mean, the decision of the court, not the decision of the court. We not get any control over that, you know. But in terms of penalty, we self get certain violations and the way the law provides it, we can institute penalties.
Waiting at them violations in there.
The violation, for example, if you not report certain reports that we're supposed to share with we. If, for example, you not do your onboarding of customer the way we expect for let you do them, you just not get the required documentation then from your customers then before ever you open account for them, you know. If the person a high risk customer, you supposed to go further for conduct what we call enhanced due diligence. If you also fail for report, suspicious transaction report, red flags, then we train the banks them and or we engage them for let them know what's in some of them red flags. Then if they happen and not report and we detect them, we can also penalize them.
Waiting at the penalties and una the levy in that circumstance.
Well, we get schedule of penalties. It depends on the kind of violation, all right. So, given the severity of the violation, now go determine how much administrative penalty. Some penalties then the law even provides it, we can recommend for that and suspend your license, even though we not don't invoke that need, but we don't find some institutions then various amount them for different violations.
You earlier stated say the Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2012, where you look at the time, where it only for it all to now. Like waiting need for change inside this act. We think say that's gonna make it become more effective for combat money laundering and on other mandates them.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we they apply for this Egmont membership, we get mentors them. We Nigeria FIU for come assess we, and the assessment we then do then look at we law and then also look at we state of preparedness in terms of what we get at the FIU. We go make sure say we handle information securely and we get the tools them for able to generate intelligence and share with other people them. So one thing we then can notice about we law, it don't give you that centrality exclusivity in the sense that other person and they will be able to do similar thing. So then one a situation with an FIU no more, then go be the central authority. Then we get the exclusive right for able to handle the information and because and then the Egmont requirement mean. So some of the things that we will get for change, now the law, now then for GIWI the authority. Then if we forget a compelling mandate for request any institution for information apart from the financial institution, so certain provisions in the way we get for trick for let it befit that legal requirements then then international cooperation, a host of provisions in the act we get for also look at. Then as we speak now, the FIU, we not administrative FIUs. We will not get black powers for investigating we own. All right. But we want for set to set as a quasi FIU in the sense that we get some powers for do what they do right now administratively, and we will get some power for able to do investigation on we own. So these are things that we will look at going forward for let we strengthen we hand and the work.
Depreciation of the leons compared to the dollar and other foreign currencies, the money laundering way they happen at the country, of course you don't confirm that it gets any relation to the leons where they come down.
I don't see who say
because if people they like for example print and they fake print more dollar where the leons day, it gets any.
Well, I don't see that volume of supply way go impact because if fake dollar really the impact the exchange rate, then it will be on the positive side. But we don't see that. And I don't see any bearing way issue of money laundering gets with exchange rate. It's basically currency like other goods, then they react to the forces of demand and supply. Until we begin boost we export, until we begin able create avenue for get supply of foreign currency as opposed to what would they spend on import, then we will strengthen the leon in terms of.
So looking at an analysis, financial data and other important components, what you go say about on a system in terms of analyzing data, on a get what it take for proving for get a better result?
Well, we get something we work on. They're not perfect, and I make I say one of the things that me leadership they work on very seriously. Now forget good analytical tools we go use for able to do the analysis and get high quality intelligence. The result from the analysis and the work in call intelligence, who can share with partners and for able to let them do the investigation. So we get something, but it is not which we want because advanced tools then they work can use. And as I say, we not the only rely on the limited resources of government because there is a lot of competing demands on government, but we also reach out to partners and for able to assist we so that they go strengthen we hand for do the work.
All right. Many thanks for joining at the program this morning, David Bobo, Director of the Financial Intelligence Unit. Thank you for coming at the program this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Now, this edition of the program, Good Morning Salon Golefuna, plenty thank you to the production team. Michael Sambola and Alex Lawrence Kurumaro produced the program. DJ Lava give you technical support. Ms. Moses Kavura make on see live on Facebook and YouTube. So till we meet again, maybe I'll cover this. Get yourself a wonderful day. Goodbye.
And Sapti Kalona say bye-bye.